Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Shawn Marie Higgins, and welcome back to Spirit Callout. Now, it's been a week since I've done my last one, and I just want to explain a little bit more about how this happens. What I do is I bring to you callouts from crossed over loved ones, including animals and humans and other beings sometimes, who have come to me to reach their human loved ones in living body. So I'm getting spirits or your dead relatives, essentially, coming to me to reach you. And this initially started on a very slow pace, and I could easily figure out who these people were. They were either patients in my practice or new people that I knew were going to come in that I was going to meet that day of practice, or it would happen in public places like stores and things like that. I suddenly began getting inundated by spirits sort of lining up to introduce themselves to me and give messages. Then I was a little overwhelmed and I didn't know exactly how to deliver these messages. I also realized that my practice was sort of building from the other end of the spectrum, so to speak. I do osteopathic manipulation and spiritual mediumship in my practice. However, I usually get living people lining up, making appointments to contact their deceased loved ones. In this case, I have deceased loved ones lining up to talk to their living in body loved ones. So it's a little bit opposite what I thought would happen as my practice grows. And in order to serve, I've got to do it this way. It's the only way that I know how to get the union, the communion of the spirit and the living human to get the messages across. I wanted to let you know also that this is very organic. How this happens is not that I'm just sitting around going, okay, what am I getting? And then I get a mental image of something and I'm like, okay, that's it. No, these are real encounters, meaning my visual field of the physical world will go away completely and I will be replaced with a whooshing of a spirit that will take up my whole physical visual field with another interdimensional sort of visual field. And it's very real. I'm awake when this happens. These are literal things put in my visual field and the times of day it happens and everything. I go into that in classes that I give in order to help other people get better at their mediumship skills. But these are real contacts for the purpose of reaching their loved ones in order to tell their loved ones at the very minimum, or at the most importantly, if your loved one is called out, it is because they are wanting you to know they are with you. They love you and they are here. They see you. They're with you. They're not missing a beat of your life. So it's to give you resolution and validation that they are around. That's the most healing message because when you hear that information and truly get that validation, positive neurotransmitter changes happen in your central nervous system that create a whole cascade of healing mechanisms and chemical reactions in your body. So that is an actual very healing thing. And that is what they're giving you. They're giving you a moment of healing. And whenever you think of that episode or the call out or the fact that they are really here, every time that occurs to you, you're getting another moment of neurotransmitter shifts and healthy anti-inflammatory pro-immune system cascades of healing in the body. Now, again, I teach a class called Biological Mediumship that goes over more of this kind of stuff. So, these are real. So I have to wait for them to happen. I can't ask for them to happen. Spirit will come to me when they're ready. And so oftentimes it'll be a little bit of time in between the call out episodes. And then usually what happens is the spirit will introduce themselves to me as a picture or a vision of their real body and or a scene happening all together. That will go away. And then what happens is, interestingly enough, I would sit to contact the spirits to try to get more information. However, I found out from trial and error and just from drawing out, for example, this is today's call out. I'll show you a better picture. When I start to draw the spirit that I see, all the information floods to me about the scenario as much as possible. Then I still have questions. And if that's the case, I contact my high spirit guides that help monitor my mediumship progress to get further answers. However, when I'm drawing these entities, that's when everything comes back to me. Now, I promise you, when you draw something that you see from an interdimensional visual field, it's different than when you try to draw something else that you're looking at from a physical visual field. I I am not a sketch artist or a professional artist by any means. So please, no judgments on my drawings. But I can tell you that the information transferred and filled in and the fullness of the content of communication that I receive from the spirits, when I look back in my mind to the actual vision they gave me, and I try to recreate that through my body, through my musculoskeletal system, and draw onto a piece of paper. That's another whole mechanism of channeling that's helping communicate with this entity. And again, we go over this in my biological mediumship class. You can contact me at osteopathicwell@gmail.com or go to osteopathicwell.com. That's my website. You can go to contact us and just let me know whatever you're interested in. But in any case, that's how this is happening. So it has to come to me authentically and for real. I have absolutely no doubt about the validity of the information I'm giving you. I know in my heart this is real contact and this is real information. I'm truly serving as a bridge between the spirit and physical world when I do this work. So, with that explanation, sometimes there's oftentimes some things that are new that I will learn about mediumship while I'm doing this call out. One of them is the fact that drawing it out helps me fill in the communication. That's why today you're seeing me on video, because I have to actually show you a picture of the little girl who came to me this morning. Now, I have a couple of other call outs that happened before today, but because while I was drawing this little girl today, I got so much information about the communication through the drawing that I wanted to do her call out today. And then in a very short amount of time, you'll see a couple more call outs for a couple more spiritual entities. Okay, so the girl who came to me this morning is a little girl. She appears to be about 5 years old. And I'm guessing, of course, because she showed herself just kind of sideways to me. I think this image is mirrored in your view. So I think it's going to be tilted this way in your view. But she was coming from my right and kind of tilted to my left, kind of like peeking out at me, like, hi. And she just smiled. And I saw pigtails, which were the most prominent thing that was dominant telepathy wise when I was looking at her. The most prominent thing I kept noticing were her pigtails. I noticed that she had brown hair. It was darker than dirty blonde, but not really dark brunette. And it was in two very high pigtails. And I am going to show you a picture of her right now by sharing my screen. And I hope I've done this correctly. You should be able to see my sketch of her. Now, I really saw the real person, the skin, everything real, but this is my sketch of it. And it is quick because as I'm sketching, I'm getting a lot of information coming through at the same time as I'm sketching. So I'm getting her as much as I can. She was very happy, very smiley, very bright eyes. What stood out to me, though, are those pigtails. They were high on the head. They poked out a little bit from her head and then went out. I specifically noticed attention being called to the pigtail elastics. Interesting how spirit will show these little details that will be identifying to the physical human beings listening to this episode. These little things will be identifying, so you'll know without a doubt that this is your loved one. But they were either specific pigtail holders that she really wanted and finally got and was super happy about, or it was something that she wore every day, that she did her hair that way every day. But I clearly see a definition between the pigtail holders, which were very tight, and then sprouting out from those was hair that was not super long, but making a pigtails that weren't down against her face, but up higher on her head and went out. And she was wearing, I believe, some sort of a checker or plaid shirt, maybe with a collar. And the reason I say maybe she was wearing that is because In the spiritual realm, the physical senses like sight, sound, hearing, taste, touch, they aren't like the ones that we have in the physical body. So when I'm getting these spiritual entities approaching me, they phase in. I can see the gradient of the form fading in, and then they'll stay for moments, for some moments, and then they'll fade out, and they'll stay for enough moments so that I can understand the information that's being delivered by that visual for that moment. That's the introduction. Then when I go back and draw, I get more information. So I see, hear, feel, know all is one thing. And it felt like she had some sort of a checkered shirt. And when I noticed that, I got the vibe that she was very bright, very smart, very inquisitive, very curious. Her energy to me seemed like a scientist. I got scientist vibrations from this girl. Like she would have been a scientist, and that would be her profession. She was very wholesome and strong, yet gentle and kind. But she was very strong personality and that she really knew who she was and really wouldn't care what the rest of the kids at school thought of her. She was always wanting to know how snails worked and how the shells formed and how things in nature became how they were. And that's how I see her. A little bit of a tomboy, but very beautiful, very girlish, but still very inquisitive and wanting to be outside playing a lot. I got the idea that she was outside, sort of playing kind of thing when she appeared to me. Now, I feel that this communication is to reach her parents and other family members. And she's just saying, I'm happy, I'm here, I'm with you. Now, spirit will come through to help heal their loved ones who are still in living body. So this is a healing that she's giving to her loved ones who are actually able to hear this call out and be validated that she's still here. She's still around you, just in a different form. Now, there may have been a few very light freckles. Again, it's that interdimensional phasing in and out. So I don't know if there were freckles, but I felt the knowing of freckles. So that may have been something that was identifying for her. That is the most dominant information that I received about this beautiful little girl. So please don't be shy about contacting me if this is your loved one. If you're listening to this on a podcast on Apple or Buzzsprout or Spotify, if you want to see me in the picture of this little girl, also go to YouTube and watch the same episode. And I just want to show you real quick the initial sketch flow of information that I drew, because I'm hoping these videos are also educational in some way for all of you who are pursuing mediumship careers or getting better at mediumship for your own intuitive guidance and healing. I just did a whole bunch of writing and drawing all together. And so with spirits that are my guides and my relatives, I spend more time redrawing their facial features and redrawing details just because I want them to become alive more through my biology so that I have a stronger mediumship and spiritual communicative language with them. And then it becomes more neurologically traced into my neural connections and facilitated. Mediumship is biological. In the class, we also work on facilitating neuron connections and facilitating this through your biology and most specifically and initially your nervous system. So I just want to stop right there because I'm a teacher at heart. I won't talk your ear off forever. So thank you for listening. I hope I've done some good in serving and connecting this beautiful spirit with her loved ones and living body. And I'll see you next time. Take good care.